a master of? Do you have the skills to be number one? I wanna take the ultimate step, find the courage to live bold, to risk it all and not forget the lessons that I hold.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 106 of the Pokemon Snapshot. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm doing pretty well, Jeff, considering today might be my last day on Earth.
Why might it be your last day on Earth?
So Chelsea and I normally don't celebrate Valentine's Day because we both kind of think Valentine's is a stupid holiday. But in the morning, so she works out like 6 days a week. She's an insane person. And tomorrow they have a couples workout for Valentine's Day, and I haven't worked out in like a while. So I'm fully expecting to take my last breath tomorrow morning.
This sounds like a horrible way to spend Valentine's Day, and I hate Valentine's Day. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty lame to die on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, well, you have fun. For Jessie already knows what she got because the website lied to me, and I thought it was coming as a book, but it was just PDFs. But I got us couples D&D campaigns to go through.
That's adorable. A little
Yeah, I
role
know.
play.
Adorkable.
A little role play for the two of you.
Yes. Keep it PG. 13.
That's all I was gonna say.
That's all you were gonna say.
Yeah.
So, anything else? You're like, how early do you have to get up to do this workout?
It's at 8. It's not super early.
Okay.
I mean, it's early. Like if I weren't doing this, I would sleep until like 10 or 11. But it's not that early.
Yeah. And I can attest to that. I remember when we were both teachers, and I knew not to text you past 10 or before 10 on the weekends.
Yeah. There's no point in texting me before 10 because I'm not gonna answer. Because
I
will be
mean,
asleep.
since you've gotten older, we've had a lot of early morning text
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah, it's terrible. But what have you been up to?
So I've been playing some video games. I'm almost caught up in my Like a Dragon / Yakuza series. I've been playing Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which is a fun game.
Wait, so you've been playing it in Hawaii, or Yakuza in Hawaii is part of the title?
That's the title. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Okay, I was like, there's a misplaced modifier here somewhere, I think.
Yeah. You play as Majima, who is he starts off the series as a villain, and then he kind of becomes a frenemy.
Mm.
He's also, ever since they've done English, is voiced by Matthew Mercer, and he's just like one of my role models I look up to in the voice acting world.
Nice.
He's a great voice actor.
Nice.
He's from Critical Role, if you don't know who he is.
Okay.
Yeah, guy with the long hair.
Yeah.
And so you start off the series as Majima, and you've lost your memory, so you decide to be a pirate.
Oh, that's fun. I want to be a pirate.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of you. Did you ever play Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag?
I did not.
All right, so everyone loves that game, and I couldn't get into that game. I thought the ship battles were slow and clunky. I did not enjoy it. Of course, this was 15 years ago that it came out, probably close to that. I love the ship battles. They're so fun. They're just nice and snappy and quick. You can have ship battles by shooting cannons at different
That's pretty
ships
cool.
and just sinking them. You can ram them. It's fun.
Nice. That's
But
pretty cool.
what I really want to talk about that I've been doing over this last week is, I know Josh talks about his career, his job. He teaches middle school, right? Middle school?
Mm-hmm. 8th grade.
8th grade. Did you teach high school for a little bit? I can't remember.
I've only taught 7th and 8th grade for over
Okay.
a decade now. I've
Wow.
seen things.
We are old. We have been
I
friends.
know.
We have been friends for over a decade.
I know, it's crazy.
Almost 15 years, which is ridiculous.
We met in 2013. So yeah.
Yep.
13 years.
Wow. Time flies. But I
I
don't
know.
know how much I've talked about my job on here. So I work for a group home company with adults with disabilities.
Mhm.
And every year we take them to a water park. And it is my favorite day of the year every year.
That sounds super fun.
Yeah, so we go in the middle of February when it's cold. We do the indoor water park. So our company just rents out the entire water park for these
Well,
residents.
that's cool. How many residents are there?
Well, we have like 300 residents. Not all of them go. Some of them can't handle the crowds and everything. And
Mhm.
we actually split it up over 2 days.
Oh, okay,
So
that's cool.
some homes went 2 weeks ago, and then some went this week. I was with the group that went this week, and it's just so much fun. Lazy River, they have the water slides that are indoors open for them, and it's just great giving them an opportunity to do things that they wouldn't normally get to do.
That's really cool, yeah. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's my favorite day of the year. That, and then in June, we always put on a prom for them.
Nice. Yeah, you showed me pictures of the prom last year.
Yeah, so,
Nice. Well, that's fun. Did you just float around the lazy river the whole time?
yeah, honestly, I didn't even get in the water that much because I was just walking around making sure people were behaving.
Nice. That's fun. I'm glad you got to do that. That's fun.
Yeah, and so, let's go to our next segment, which is Pokemon news, and it actually works out, Josh, that we didn't record until today instead of our normal Thursday because
Mhm.
when I wrote this into our outline, I just wrote none because there wasn't any big Pokemon news that has come out. We did have a very big week last week when we did our episode.
Mhm.
Well, that changed because this morning, Stern Pinball Company announced they are making a Pokemon pinball machine.
And they look pretty sweet.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen for those of you who are watching.
I love pinball. If I were rich and had like a mansion or something, I would have a room with just a bunch of pinball machines. Um, for Jeff's bachelor party, the two of us and our buddy Aaron went to Denver and went to a barcade there called the One Up. Um, and played pinball all night.
Yes, it was a fun time. I'm not the biggest pinball fan because I'm just not good at pinball, but these look cool, and if I saw these, I would play it, and, the thing is, if you want to get one of these for your home, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny because the first one here, the pro model, is $7,000,
Mm.
and then there's the premium model for $9,500, and then the limited edition, which there was only 750 of these being made for $13,000.
Insane. But also
It
they look pretty cool.
Yes, there's also they released a trailer video, so you can go on and search it. You can find the video to show you how the pinball works. I have a few more pictures here for those of you watching. Uh, this is kind of the overview of how the whole pinball area looks. If you see that Meowth, it's actually a hot air balloon like Team Rocket Ride, and it goes up and down to block balls and stuff. It looks really cool. And what's really funny, I saw this, so I didn't realize it was a real pinball machine at first
Mhm.
because I saw Wario 64, which is, he gives a lot of the news and stuff, like when sales are going on, games and everything. And all I saw was Pokemon Pinball. So I'm like, oh, they're adding Pokemon Pinball to the Game Boys on the Nintendo Switch Online. Then I clicked
Mhm.
on it and I'm like, no, they are making an actual
These are
pinball machine.
big boy pinball machines.
And then here's kind of a closer view. It's not the best picture, but of the Meowth balloon.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that is the big news coming out of today. And I'm I'm excited because there's a barcade near us that opened up a couple years ago called Last Level Games. We went when they first opened. We don't really they're kind of small, but they announced on their Facebook page that they're getting one and they're getting one of the limited edition ones. And so
Nice.
I may have to go there and film a video of me playing it.
You have to fly me out.
But yeah, I am super excited. I already told Jesse that I go, you're gonna have to be my filmographer while I while I fail miserably at playing this. All right, so let's go on to our question of the week. And last week we asked the question, what is your dream vacation? And we had quite a few answers. Carnation22 said, I go with my wife to the UK. I've sent her on several solo trips and she loves it. If I had no budget, that would be my choice. I would love to go to UK. That is on my bucket list of places to
Mhm.
go.
I've
Uh,
flown through Heathrow, but I never actually went.
that's what I
Well,
was going to
yeah. Well, I've never been to like England, but I spent a week in Scotland. It's pretty
Okay,
sweet.
so
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, same as you. I've been in the Heathrow Airport, so I've been in London, in England, or whatever.
Technically,
Technically, like if I said what countries have I been to, I can mark it off because I've been there.
I don't count that.
But yeah, I would love to spend a week in London or more just getting all the sights there and go to Ireland. That would be all cool. BC West 303 said I would go back to Barbados again because it's just amazing. Again, another place I've never been, and I would love to go there.
Nice.
Chelsea Bells 90 from our TikTok said Norway, Ireland, Germany, Switzerland, Italy. I just want to experience it all.
Nice. I've been to Germany and Switzerland. Switzerland is the most gorgeous place I've ever been to in my entire life. It's like it's like not even a real place. It's
I
it's
went to
incredible.
Germany on a field trip when I worked at a summer camp in Belgium.
Nice.
We went to an amusement park in Germany. But that's all I've been to Germany. Never really got to experience it. It was the first place I ever tried Nutella. Fun story.
Fun.
Because they were selling like Nutella crepes, and I made the comment, I've never had Nutella before. And the nice lady behind the counter gave me a little like popsicle stick with some Nutella on it.
Oh, she felt bad for the little American boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to do a German accent and it never works out. I should never. Chelsea always makes fun of my accents. They're terrible.
And then Kate said, my dream vacation is to go back to Prague. It is such a beautiful city full of neat little places to visit. I was there back in 1996 and I've wanted to go back ever since.
Nice.
And then we tabled this from last week. BC West also asked us about talking about how we got the podcast started, what it takes. And I just want to say, the most important advice I give people for when they start a podcast is don't pay attention to your views. You need
Pretty
to do a podcast because it's something you're interested in talking about and you're having fun doing it. For example, I would even say the same about a YouTube page because I tried a very short stint in YouTube and it was a pain in the butt to make. I taught myself the skill, and then as soon as Josh said, "Hey, let's bring this podcast back," I'm like, "Yes, I enjoy doing this more, and plus, we actually have listeners over here."
Yeah. It is fun with the listeners, but like we would probably still be doing this even if folks didn't listen. So
Yeah, yeah, even if we only had 10 or 20. And
yeah.
that's the thing. When I started this back in 2020 with my previous host, Tyler, we were ecstatic when our first episode got 20 listens.
hmm And
Like
we're at yeah. I'm gonna go against your don't pay attention to your listens. How many total listens do we have across all the episodes now, Jeff?
around 1,000. And to me, that is still just amazing. Now, that
It's
doesn't say everyone listened to a whole episode. They might have just
Mhm.
heard and got annoyed by Josh's voice and left. But and
Very
then
likely.
he did have a question like, how do you structure your podcast? And this is going to be different depending on whatever podcast you do. Some people doing our type of videos will just talk through it. Josh and I found out that when we don't do a script, we talk over each other way too much. And so we put where we want to talk, but even some parts of it becomes unscripted, which works for us. We keep an outline to keep us on track so we know what we're going to talk about. And honestly, if we're just talking about the episode, our jokes wouldn't be funny because we don't get to think of them beforehand.
Yeah. But there's probably a lot more stuff that goes that like other podcasts, they have different ways of doing it. But as far as like the podcasts that I listen to that follow a script, I generally find those better than people just like talking the whole time because most people aren't that funny. Like some people are funny off the cuff, but a lot of people are not. And so it's best to follow a script, especially when you're doing something like this, like a rewatch podcast.
Yeah. And Josh and I each have our own jobs when we do it. He does the script of the main episode. I put together all the information beforehand. I mean, with the help of you guys, because you guys answer my questions and stuff, and Kate gives us our information. And then once Josh does his script, I go in and put where I want to talk, my rebuttals to what he's saying, my responses. Then I add in the Who's That Pokemon segment, which is my section. And then we record. And, we use Riverside, which is a paid program, but that doesn't mean when we first started, we were each recording our own video, our own audio. And Josh, I literally have a in our Google Drive, there's a folder titled Just Drop Here, so he knows where to put it.
Otherwise, I get lost.
Otherwise, he gets lost. But yeah, I mean, you don't even need a thing to Riverside. We didn't do Riverside till we came back because I used it with my buddy's podcast, and I'm like, this is nice, and it's worth and it's not too expensive. So we're like, yeah, this makes things so much easier. Without it, you would not have a video component, and you wouldn't have those nice little TikToks reels and YouTube shorts that I post out because it helps me with all that, which has helped grow the podcast. But yeah, if you just record on your phone, my biggest thing is just do it, because if you don't ever start, you're never going to do it.
That's good advice for life.
Yes.
Just start doing it. Doesn't matter if you suck at it. Just go for it. You'll get
Yep.
better.
As I said, I started YouTube. I mean, I wasn't the greatest at it. I had fun doing it, but I give all the props to these video people because it's a lot more work, in my opinion, than doing a podcast. All right. So I hope that answered your question, BC West. Let's go on to our next segment, which Josh is going to preview.
Education.
All right. She gave us a little bit of information over the last week. I like this because Kate, you can always tell when Kate's listening to our episodes because she starts putting it in the Discord, the information where she's like, Jeff and Josh, you guys are stupid.
At least someone around here does research, and it's not me and Jeff.
Unless it's about card-ass cards.
Exactly.
All right. So what Kate told us from last week's episode is that Rattata being 10 pounds is huge. The rat she kept as a pet topped out at about 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds, and we're probably about 8 inches long without the tail being factored in.
Kate, why did you have rats as pets?
Because Kate has lived many lives. We've been over this.
She has lived many lives, yeah.
I mean, rats are a normal pet. People have rats.
Are they?
Aunt used to have a rat.
I have one right here. If you're watching the video.
Part Chihuahua, that is part rat.
That's yeah.
And then her other bit of information is you can sing a lowland Rattata to the tune of Hakuna Matata. You're welcome.
Give us a little sample, Jeff.
You can ask me to sing.
See, I'm
Rattata.
That's it. Okay.
That's all I'm giving you. I have not warmed up.
All right. Fair enough.
All right. So don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for the Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms. And if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. Also, we have a Discord. Join our Discord. We chat in there, answer the question of the week. You can get your answers read. Also, I put the day the podcast episodes go out, I post a video on YouTube and TikTok.
I ignore all of your messages in the Discord unless I think of a really funny joke to respond.
Kate does say, she just commented that her rats were the graduates of a nutritional experiment at school.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. So going on to our next segment, which Josh will also preview.
Previously on Pokemon.
All right. Last week, absolutely nothing happened. Next.
Not a single thing. Let's move on.
Not a single thing. Let's move on. Let's move on to this week's episode where way more happens. All right. So this week's episode was titled The Mandarin Island Miss Match, or as it was known in Japanese, Kana of the Four Heavenly Kings, the Icy Battle. Which I want to point out, Four Heavenly Kings is what they call the Elite Four. Way better name than the Elite Four.
That is a cool name. The Four Heavenly Kings.
Yes.
But aren't at least isn't at least one of the Elite Four a woman?
Yeah, this one, that's the subject of this episode.
Duh. Well, she's not a king.
Well, that's what they're called, yeah. And Agatha is also a woman, and she's in the Elite Four.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it's just, I don't know. This episode aired on June 3rd in 1999 in Japan and on April 15th, 2000 in the United States. And just to kind of bring you into that week, what was happening around the world, The movie, the top movie at the box office was still Rules of Engagement. So I learned something while I was doing this research, Josh. You know how we always, you talk about the Billboard Top 100 or whatever, Top 40? I did not realize that was an actual magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out weekly, and I found the archives, so I can get all this information from the archives except for, like, the TV ones.
Very convenient.
Because in the Billboard magazine, I found out that the top DVD sales of that week was The Sixth Sense.
Nice. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
I rented that one from the movie gallery, and it
Yeah.
scared the crap out of me.
I love that movie. I'm also kind of a huge fan of Haley Joel Osment because he voices Sora in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. Gotta give it up to big ups to Haley Joel.
Even as a full-grown adult, he looks just like a child with a giant beard.
Yeah.
And then it's a top. So that was the top DVD sale was The Sixth Sense. The top video sale was Tarzan. So do you think that means VHS?
Are we talking VHS here? I would think
versus
so.
DVD? Which I thought about this a little bit. If you look at it this way, the VHS sale was a kids. In 2000, DVD players were still really expensive.
Yeah.
So you weren't going to have as many kids with DVD players. So that kind of makes sense that the top VHS sale was Tarzan.
And now, like, DVD players don't even exist.
Nope. We have a Blu-ray player in our minivan for when we go on long trips with the girls. And so we buy a ton of DVDs when they're on sale. We see them at yard sales just so the girls have something to watch when we go visit my family.
That's fun.
But I can't even remember the last time we actually put a DVD or Blu-ray into something to play it.
At least like 2009.
The number one song was still Bye 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 by NSYNC, and the number two song was Maria Maria by Santana featuring the product GNB. You know that song? I don't know.
I mean,
that
maybe
song.
if I heard it, but the only Santana I remember is the one with Rob Thomas.
All right, and then for TV, the same day this episode aired, the 13th Kids' Choice Awards aired that night on Nickelodeon. And the highest rated show that night was, they didn't have a rating for the Kids' Choice Awards, so it was Ice Wars for the World, for spelled F-O-U-R, and it was a figure skating competition.
Fun.
All right. So
What a strange and simple time the late 90s, early 2000s were. Are you ready to get into the episode, Jeff?
Yeah, so sorry, I was just looking at a chat. Kate says it's on the same album, Josh. You'll probably recognize it if you heard it.
Oh, okay. Nice. I saw Santana a few years ago. He was great. He started talking he started trash talking Trump in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and people were not happy about it. And I was very happy about it.
All right, let's get into the episode.
This episode is called The Mandarin Island Miss Match, or as my alternate title is called, aka
Thanks for the memories.
Which should give you a clue as to what 90% of our jokes for this episode are focused on. The episode begins as Ash is already annoying me, like right out of the gate, by bragging about how much he rules at being a Pokemon trainer, calling himself unstoppable and invincible, and I'm calling a lawyer to write up my will. But before Ash causes me to shuck off this mortal coil, we roll the credits.
The Mandarin Island Miss Match!
We join Team Ash as they have lunch at a fancy harbor cafe. And Jeff, can we get some sound of of Ash shoving these sandwiches down his gullet? Folks, if this is how you sound when you eat, we're going to need to have a serious conversation about your table manners. Ash characteristically says he has to eat fast in case he has to go beat someone in a battle, and I don't think I've ever wanted to see a child be humbled more than I do right now, not counting the president.
It's also important to note that he is bragging about all of this when he has only had 3 wins. They make sure to point that out. He's won 3 times. And also during this party, Misty goes, like, during this part, Misty goes, she's like, man, it went out again. And Not Brock goes, what did? And she goes, Sometimes his brain just goes out to lunch.
Not Brock comes up and says he solved the mystery of why everyone wants to battle, as if that were a mystery to begin with.
I had the same comment. It's Pokemon. Isn't that what their entire society is based on?
It's like their entire economy, their entire society is based on battling Pokemon. Not Brock reads a flyer that says some Pokemon trainer named Prima will be doing a battle demonstration. Misty fangirls over Prima like some of the people in our Discord channel. Just kidding, folks. Love you all. Calling her a hero just as Prima herself walks up, leaving Misty and Ash speechless for two very different and very specific reasons. Let's just say that Prima wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. Misty asks Prima for some pointers, and there are at least two that Prima can offer.
Hey, Prima has a very well-rounded battle strategy. Tracy also says that maybe he can sketch Prima, and we all know what he's thinking.
That's a little weird, guy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was always job listings for this certain type of model for my college art classes.
Yeah. One of my alternate titles was "Thank God Brock isn't here for this episode," but not Brock took over took over the creepy spot
Yes.
for this episode.
I also want to bring up the question, and I did my research and no one can figure out why. They changed the Elite Four member's name because in the video games, her name is Lorelai.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't remember Prima. I didn't realize she was an Elite Four trainer until you just said it like 3 minutes ago. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, Prima doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, her name was Lorelai. There were rumors because of the syllables. Prima and Lorelai have different syllables, but that doesn't fit any other theory because I'm going to go through some Japanese versus English names. Ash, also known as Satoshi. Misty, also known as Kasumi. Brock, Takeshi. The syllables don't matter.
Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah, so I don't know.
In the nearby woods, Team Rocket spies on Team Ash and Prima while they scarf down some unknown food. Could you not find any information on the food?
No, couldn't see anything.
Prima ignores Team Ash's fanboying and girling and begins talking to Togepi and then the sea for some reason. Like, why are all of the side characters that they meet on this show like some weirdo hippies?
Ash and friends, they just, I guess, attract a certain group of people.
They just have an aura about them.
Yes.
Ash, totally unable to read the room, challenges Prima to a Pokemon battle. Like, bro, she's trying to vibe with nature, and you're out here trying to fight a woman like 3 times your age. Side note, for some reason, they insist on doing these multiple slow pans, starting at Prima's legs and then moving all the way up her body. They do it like 3 times. It's weird.
All right. So since you brought this up, I'm going to talk about this bit of lost media because there is 38 seconds that was cut out of the English version of the anime. It aired the first time on Kids WB that they showed the episode, but has not been seen since. It's probably somewhere on someone's like recorded VHS tape. And this segment is zoomed in on a certain body part is blocking part of the screen. I am going to share my screen.
I'm
So
laughing
those
because
are-
I'm looking at the picture right now.
Yeah. So Josh, for those of us watching or listening, explain why this was changed.
You want me to explain it? Are you sure?
Yes.
I'll give you folks one guess. Well, I'll give you 2 guesses as to what that is in front of Misty's face in that
Well,
picture.
yeah, no. What I'm saying is describe it to our non-visual watchers.
Okay. There are 2 things that are covering Misty's face in this frame of the show. Ash looks angry, which is strange. Jeff, I don't know how you want me to describe this while not getting banned from Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Let's just say Prima's assets are covering half the screen.
And
All
they
right.
insist on slow panning.
And they insist on
it.
slow panning. Yes. All right. So if we look at this screen, her, as I said, assets are covering half the screen. And this is how the scene goes. Ash goes, "Hey, what's so funny? Not only am I undefeated champion on this island, but I'm practically a Pokemon master. Come on, Prima, one battle." And Misty goes, "The only thing you're the master of is disaster." Which Ash says, "Who asked you? Maybe you want me to teach you a lesson instead of Prima. Hey, I guess I could use another easy win." And Misty says, "What do you mean, another easy win?" Which Ash responds, "Oh, well, if the great Prima's scared of me, I guess I'll find somebody who's not afraid to lose." And Misty goes, "Ugh, that Ash is so... If he ever did battle you, he'd see he's not as great as he thinks he is." And the whole time, we're just seeing this from the point of view of someone, I guess, eye level with her breast. In fact, the Japanese version of the show, they redid this scene with less of the screen covered up. They like went in and airbrushed it away.
Because like they don't direct, like, other than like a few subtle mentions, they don't like directly address it or address
No.
them. They don't directly address them, rather. Um, so it is a little bit more obvious, or it isn't quite as obvious when this scene is removed.
Yeah. I can see why they removed this scene, but just
Yeah, me
who
too.
some pervy old man was drawing that day.
Yeah. Mm. Ash runs around the pier looking for someone to battle and ends up picking a fight with some jabroni who has a Persian that can do electric type moves, which actually rules. Pikachu and Bulbasaur don't even bother leaving their food bowls to join the fight, so Ash throws out Squirtle. Knockbrock points out that this Persian has been in lots of battles because its tail is sticking straight out. Or are you just happy to see me? Is this enough for a lore dump, or is this like...
No, this is just something they
No,
put in the
okay.
anime. Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't ever say anything about that. But I
Okay.
do want to talk a little bit
false,
about this scene.
false alarm, no lore dumping here.
First of all, why is Bulbasaur the only one of Ash's Pokemon that is in the Pokeballs that gets to eat?
That's fair, because I was like, because they have like dog bowls that
Yeah.
they're feeding them out of. Yeah.
And also, I remember when I was playing Red and Blue, I always liked having a Persian or a normal type, and I would teach it electric type moves because in Red and Blue, most electric Pokemon sucked and Pikachu was hard to get.
Persian uses Thunderbolt, but Squirtle withdraws into its shell before headbutting the Persian to death. The jabroni sends out Tauros, who then headbutts Squirtle to death.
I just want to point out that when he sent out Tauros, I was half paying attention, and I thought he said, "Go get him, Charles."
Charles, headbutt.
So I'm just gonna say, when Ash uses his Tauros, we have to call it Charles now,
His name is now officially Charles.
even though that
Uh,
wasn't Ash's Tauros.
Yeah. It's pretty lame that all these Pokemon have so many cool attacks, but headbutts, like the worst attack or like the lamest attack or an insta kill. Ash sends out Charizard thinking he can now handle Charizard's attitude and is quickly proven wrong. Prima watches in disapproval as Ash accidentally wallops Jabroni Man because Ash just happens to have a literal fire-breathing dragon that burns Charles like Michael Jackson's hair in a Pepsi commercial. Charizard takes to the air and starts breathing fire all over the place like it's King's Landing. Prima shows up, sends out Slowbro, and disables Charizard. Prima lectures Ash about not being a weapons-grade tool bag, and Ash makes excuses out of embarrassment. She invites them to her demonstration that afternoon, and just to be clear, this is a Pokemon battle demonstration, not any other kind of demonstration.
Yeah, when she said demonstration, Knockbrock started pulling out his notepad a little too excitedly.
At the stadium, Team Rocket are dressed as concession stand workers. Prima does some Pokemon stuff, and even Ash has to admit that she's good, which takes us into...
Who's that Pokemon?
All right, and our Who's That Pokemon for this week is Kadabra, who in Japanese is known as Youngerer.
Youngerer?
Youngerer. It'll make sense when we talk about his
Okay.
Japanese name origin.
Okay.
Some basic information on Kadabra. It's number 64 in the Pokedex. It is a psychic type. It is 4 foot 3 inches tall and weighs 124.6 pounds. And it is known as the Psy Pokemon. And then it evolves into Alakazam when it is traded. Kadabra's name origin. Kadabra's English name comes from the famous magic word abracadabra, traditionally spoken by magicians when casting spells or performing illusions. Its Japanese name, a Youngerer, is a direct reference to Uri Geller, a real world psychic and illusionist known for her claims of telekinesis and spoon bending. The name is a phonetic adaptation of Geller into Japanese. This resulted in Uri Geller suing Nintendo for using his likeness.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that dude's had like a bunch of he had like magic specials and stuff like that. At one point they thought he was a member of Mossad, like the Israeli like CIA basically. Um but yeah, there's a bunch of interesting stuff about that dude.
Okay,
But
yeah,
the least interesting is that he sued Nintendo. That's pretty
yeah.
lame.
Well, yeah, in the trivia section of Who's That Pokemon, we'll talk more about that.
Okay, cool.
What is a Kadabra based off of? Its primary inspiration is stage magicians and illusionists. Kadabra's entire visual comes from stage magic. The spoon reference classic magician and psychic tricks, especially spoon bending. Its mustache, angular face, and stern expression resemble an older intellectual magician rather than a playful performer. And the constant use of the spoon as a focus object mirrors how magicians use props to channel their tricks. It also channels pop culture psychic influence. Kadabra is heavily influenced by late 20th century fascination with psychics and ESPN. No, sorry, ESP,
Not the Sports Center people.
not the Sports Center, especially figures who claim telekinesis or mind reading abilities. The spoon bending imagery is a direct shorthand for psychic power. Its Pokedex entries emphasize IQ, memory, and brain growth, not mysticism or spells. And psychic power is treated as a mental science, not magic. So his biology, or there it could be a female, which even the female has a cool mustache. Kadabra is a primarily yellow, slightly humanoid Pokemon with mammalian features. It
We
has
got there.
we got there. It has two long pointed ears, a red star set into its forehead, and narrow, deep set eyes framed by wide cheeks that taper into a thin snout. Two mustache like tufts of fur extend from either side of its snout. Males typically have longer mustaches than females.
That's usually how it works, yeah.
Its torso is segmented with bulky shoulders, a thick brown chest, and a smaller abdomen marked by three red wavy lines. From its abdomen extends large, thick tail wrapped with a brown band near the base.
I tell
Cadaver's
you, I love a good lady stash.
Cadaver's limbs are lean and angular. Its thin arms have brown elbows and in three-fingered hands tipped with white claws. Its legs feature prominent knees and large three-toed feet, also ending in white claws. With two toes facing forward and one backwards, Kadabra is almost always seen carrying a silver spoon, which is said to amplify its telekinetic abilities. Without a spoon, its power is significantly reduced, and gold spoons do not function as an amplifier.
Imagine if they lost a spoon, just, like, set down the spoon and some kid picked it up for their, I don't know, their ice cream or something, or whatever, and then suddenly the Kadabra is just powerless.
Just powerless. Kadabra emits alpha waves strong enough to trigger headaches and in some cases cause strange phenomena such as clocks running backwards, machines malfunctioning, or sensitive devices shutting down entirely. These waves intensify when Kadabra is in danger, and closing its eyes is said to double the amount of alpha particles it releases. When Kadabra itself has a headache, its alpha waves become unusually erratic. While using its psychic powers, all of its brain cells are described as working in perfect unison. It sleeps while levitating, resting its head against its springy tail like a pillow, and it can store psychic energy within the star on its forehead as part of its preparation for evolution. One theory even suggests Kadabra originated from a human child transformed by uncontrolled psychic ability.
Whoa.
Kadabra is most commonly found living in urban areas. Kadabra and its evolution Alakazam are the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Kinesis. All right, let's go to those Pokedex entries. Red and Blue says it emits special alpha waves from its body that induce headaches just by being close by. So it's a child.
Exactly. Well, it is only like 4-3, so yeah.
Yeah. Pokemon Yellow says many odd things happen if this Pokemon is close by. For example, it makes clocks run backwards. Pokemon Stadium says when it uses psychic power, all its brain cells work in unison to generate powerful alpha waves. Pokemon Gold says it possesses strong spiritual power. The more danger it faces, the stronger its psychic power. Pokemon Silver says if it uses its abilities, it emits special alpha waves that cause machines to malfunction. Pokemon Crystal says when it closes its eyes, twice as many alpha particles come out of the surface of its body. Pokemon Ruby says Kadabra emits a peculiar alpha wave if it develops a headache. Only those people with a particularly strong psyche can hope to become a trainer of this Pokemon.
Do they know if the Kadabra gets a headache or not?
Because whenever it closes its eyes, it's also reaching for the ibuprofen.
They spent the Pokemon Center spend thousands a week on ibuprofen for the Kadabra.
And the Psyducks. Pokemon Sapphire says Kadabra holds a silver spoon in its hand. The spoon is used to amplify the alpha waves in its brain. Without the spoon, the Pokemon is said to be limited to half the usual amount of its telekinetic powers. Pokemon Emerald says it is rumored that a boy with psychic abilities suddenly transformed into Kadabra while he was assisting research into extrasensory powers.
That one's creepy. I hope that one's true.
Just wakes up and he's a Kadabra. He's like, oh, I hit
Mhm.
puberty. I got this wonderful mustache. Fire Red says it happened one morning. A boy with extrasensory powers awoke in bed, transformed into Kadabra.
what, what? I feel like they would know. Like it wouldn't just be a rumor. Like I feel like they would know if someone heard a scream upstairs and ran up to find their kid turned into a into a Pokemon that carried around a spoon.
Little Billy was just eating his cereal, and now look at him.
He has a full-grown mustache. His sister has a slightly smaller or shorter mustache.
Um, Pokemon Diamond says if one is nearby, an eerie shadow appears on TV screens. Seeing the shadow is said to bring bad luck. Pokemon Platinum says it stares at its silver spoon to focus its mind. It emits more alpha waves while doing so. Pokemon Sun says a theory exists that this Pokemon was a young boy who couldn't control his psychic powers and ended up transformed into this Pokemon. Pokemon Moon says Kadabra's presence infests televisions and monitors with creepy shadows that bring bad luck. Pokemon Ultra Sun says it stares at a silver spoon to amplify its psychic powers before it lets loose. Apparently, gold spoons are no good.
Which is weird because gold is a good conductor of electricity. I guess
But not
because it's
psychic. And
yeah, I guess
silver's a
that's
good
true.
conductor of psychic powers,
Fair
I
enough.
guess. Ultramoon says it possesses strong mental capabilities, but its psychic powers are halved when it's not holding a silver spoon.
Oh, sorry, folks. I can't have my Kadabra at the battle because I had to do some dishes.
A Pokemon Sword says using its psychic power, Kadabra levitates as it sleeps. It uses its springy tail as a pillow.
It's like a kangaroo, a Kadabra-roo.
A Pokemon Shield says this Pokemon's telekinesis is immensely powerful. To prepare for evolution, Kadabra stores up psychic energy in the star on its forehead. And then Legends Arceus says there are rumors that a child with mystical powers became a Kadabra. However, this remains unverified. I suspect that the spoon Kadabra holds enhances its brainwaves. That was like an ADD moment. This guy, he was
Yeah.
just going all over the place, this professor. All right, and then a couple bits of trivia on Kadabra. In the Pokemon Red and Blue beta, Kadabra was originally known as Pocus. I'm going to guess Abra was Hocus.
Hocus. Yeah.
And then the last bit, I said we'd talk about this. For 20 years, Kadabra was not printed as a trading card game card since the English Skyridge expansion in 2003. This was likely the result of Nintendo and Pokemon Card Laboratories' desire to avoid further litigation from illusionist Uri Geller, who claimed that Kadabra is a parody of him and attempted to sue Nintendo over the notion. However, on November 28, 2020, Geller released an apology to Twitter announcing that he would allow Nintendo to print cards featuring Kadabra again. The first Kadabra card released since Uri Geller's dismissal of his lawsuit is included in the Japanese Pokemon Card 151 subset released on June 16, 2023, and the English 151 expansion released on September 22, 2023. Due to this limitation, Kadabra is also the only Stage 1 Pokemon that can be skipped by its basic evolution, introduced with a particular Abra card able to evolve itself directly into Alakazam.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and that is our Who's That Pokemon segment on Kadabra.
Who's that Pokemon?
Back in the episode, Team Ash is at Prima's house for some reason.
I have the same note. What makes them so special that this Elite Four member invites them over for tea? And as I've already said, in the English version, they never mention she is part of the Elite Four. Many episodes later, like over 100, Misty mentions that they met Prima of the Elite Four, but it's never mentioned here.
Notbrock tells her that she's way more chill outside of a battle, but she's intense AF when she's battling. Prima says people act different ways in different situations, and Ash, thinking she's talking about him for some reason, says she's using perverse psychology on him. One of my other alternative episode titles was perverse psychology. Prima tells them she is like water, and Jeff, can we get Prima's explanation of what this means?
One has a personal style, their own particular way of battling.
What's yours?
I try to behave like water.
What do you mean, Prima?
When I'm not battling, I try to go with the flow. But as soon as a battle begins, I become as unforgiving as ice. Then I melt right back and flow on. A trainer can be successful with any number of styles, but the most important thing is knowing, really knowing where your true strength lies.
Good, 'cause I'm strong. Real strong.
That's good, but to become a Pokemon Master, you need a different kind of strength.
Yeah, what kind of strength is that?
The strength that comes from inside. And with that strength, you can share your heart with your Pokemon.
I can almost feel what you mean.
Miss Prima, let's have a Pokemon battle now!
Like, it's so quiet, and then he just battle.
I know.
All right. I will say, somehow I missed the perverse psychology line, and that's actually pretty good writing from the dubbers.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Once again, Ash kills the vibe, but this time Prima accepts his terms of battle. It's humbling time, Ash. Ash throws out Pikachu, and Prima releases her Cloyster, which is not a euphemism. But in the context of this episode, it does seem a little too anatomically correct.
People have talked about the shape of Cloyster since the Pokemon has come out. It probably was chosen here on purpose, I'm going to guess.
Prima withdraws her Cloyster to avoid Pikachu's Thunderbolt, and again, it's not a euphemism. And the battle ends just a short while later with Cloyster headbutting Pikachu to death. They always return to their headbutting roots. Prima lectures Ash once again, and Ash says he has to be good at being a Pokemon trainer because he has 2 badges. He just has to be good at it, which is kind of like saying influencers are of value to society because they have a bunch of followers.
Please like and subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts.
Prima says that losing is an important part of becoming a master. And I think this is actually a really good point that I wish people acknowledge more often. Like, it's okay to fail at something or to suck at something as long as you're not too afraid to keep trying. Eventually you'll get better. But I see it with my students all the time where they're like too afraid to even try something because they're afraid that they'll fail. But I'm like, that's the entire premise of education. If you're not failing or sucking at something, then you're not learning. I'll step off my soapbox now.
I've also been told if you're not worried of failing, then you just don't care. So and also that's kind of good because that goes into a conversation we had about starting a podcast at the beginning of the episode. I also want to put here that Prima also humbles Ash when he says he won 2 badges by saying, "Didn't your Pokemon win those badges as well?"
Mm-hmm. Prima lays on the hippy-dippy nonsense a little thick until Team Rocket shows up to her lecture in their hot air balloon. Meowth asks if the lecture is available on CD, and Prima says it's tape only for $18.95. Kids, a CD is like a PlayStation disc that only plays music, and a tape is like scrolling TikTok with your eyes closed so you only hear the sounds. There's a pretty funny conversation right after Team Rocket's motto. If we could get the audio from that, Jeff.
What are you guys doing here?
I'll bet they're here to try to steal Prima's Pokemon.
That was our original plan.
But we realized we'd never stand a chance against someone like you, Prima.
So we decided to grab Pikachu while it's still pooped.
Let's go, Pikachu!
Guess again.
I forgot you'd rather battle.
Losing is very important, isn't it?
Yeah, losing is so important, it's what we based our whole career on.
They're weird. Call us names if you like, but we're not leaving without that Pikachu.
That's what you think.
I like Dot Brooks. They're weird.
Yeah, the reason there's a weird pause in there is I stopped recording. Then I'm like, actually, I like that. So I had to go
Yeah.
back and get that little bit again.
You had to. Prima says she'll take care of Team Rocket and sends out Jynx, who freezes Team Rocket. Jynx huffs and puffs and blasts Team Rocket off again.
And this is the reason why this episode is no longer in the rotation, has essentially been banned because of Jynx.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because it is still Jinx's old color scheme. This has the old style of Jynx with the black face, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
In fact, the Japanese version of this episode, there are 3 different versions. The original, then they had one where they reduced Prima's assets, so you see less in that one scene. And then finally, they edited Jynx to the version with the purple face and Prima's reduced assets, which makes no sense then why they couldn't just dub this over in English again.
It's just one of those things. The episode ends on a really strong note, with Prima giving Team Ash directions to the Trovita gym, and I think we can all agree that at least Brock wasn't in this one, or Prima would have had to get a restraining order.
And yeah, it just kind of ends. So Josh, what did you think of this episode?
It was a good episode. It wasn't anything special. I would give it an 8.0085 out of 10. What about you?
I'm with you. I like the episode. It was nice getting to know Prima, and it's always fun when they actually introduce characters from the games. I was going between 2 ratings. I wasn't sure where to put it, so I'm gonna give it a sideways 8 out of 10. Or if you're using an old calculator, I want you to turn that upside down and put 5,318,008 out of 10.
Excellent. Great score. I did really like Prima's lesson about the importance of losing. Because I see this a lot with my students that think they just have to be successful all the time. And it's just not the way, it's just not life.
No, if you're not where you're not going to be great at everything. And that actually does go into our question of the week, which is, what do you think you are really good at until you compete with other people and they kind of humble you, kind of like Ash was humbled today?
I feel like I was pretty humbled in grad school because I'm a reasonably intelligent person. I'm not a super genius or anything, but taking those grad school lit classes with people who were way more well-read than I am was pretty humbling. It's I am an idiot. And I'm fine with it.
My answer was going to be it wasn't nearly as intellectual. I was going to say Mario Kart.
No, it's way better. Mario Kart's way better than grad school, dude.
Because I will play Mario Kart with my family, and yes, I win most of the races. And then I play Mario Kart with other people, and I'm not as good as I think I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot, or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for The Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms, and if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. All right, Josh, anything else to add?
Have a happy Valentine's Day and a good President's Day.
Yeah, well, when they listen to this, it won't be Valentine's Day anymore, or President's Day.
Hope you had a good Valentine's Day and a good President's Day, or at least you got a day off school or work.
All right, so please join us next time when we will be watching Wherefore Art Thou, Pokemon?
We all live in a Pokemon world.